Hey guys, welcome back to the vlog. This is part 2 of the vlog. We are in the production area for Fusion Motor Company, and they are the master builders for this beautiful Eleanor that you see right beside me. Now we have the number 7 Eleanor in our possession, and right now it's up to I think 25 cars. If you place your order, 25 cars and you're going to be number 25, and it's roughly $398,000 to do a base car, believe it or not. And once you do custom parts with the car, you can go crazy, change engine, change paint job, change interior, the sound system, a lot of carbon work also, and there's just a lot of options to do with the car. But today I wanted to do a more in-depth feature of what goes behind the scenes when you're building one of these cars. But they do have some other special cars here also that they are building, and they do sub out some of their jobs to other people if you guys want to do some custom projects. So we're going to showcase all of that. This is a bit of a technical geeky vlog, so if you guys are going to tune out, you better tune out now, because we're going to talk about tech specs, details, workings of the inner stuff that behind the scenes you don't see in the normal car videos that people do. So this Eleanor right here, this is a beauty, but I think ours looks better. Just inside this room, we can spend hours talking about all the projects that they have, and a lot of the work that they do here, I've actually brought home to Classic Speed and basically injected it into my company also, because Yoel shares his technology with me and he shares ideas with me, and I absolutely love it. Check out this Kevlar Defender pickup. This is a 130, and this is one of the other projects that they're very good at doing here. They do a lot of custom Defender trucks. They do the Kevlar body work, change engines, they do the 10-speed automatics, the LT4 supercharged engines, and then they do a lot of interior work also. Later, we're gonna go to the building area where they actually have a Defender on the rack, and they're actually putting it back together, and we can see all the things that they do from the underneath perspective of the car. In case you guys are wondering, what are the services that are offered here? They do everything in-house, believe it or not. They do everything from the metal work, the mechanical work, the electrical, the upholstery, all the way till changing the engine, doing the new chassis. They are developing also their own chassis system. So we're now walking into the workshop where you see a lot of the projects, and look at this. It looks like an unassuming Defender, but secretly everything has been changed with the Defender, and I wonder if this is one of their projects. Yes, you can see the automatic gear lever already there, the aftermarket wheel, and we're gonna see if we can pop the hood. I actually don't know what engine is in this Defender, but we're gonna get a look-see. There you go. So this is one of the older builds. It has the LS3 motor from a C6 Corvette, and this is a wonderful motor. It's actually very dependable, lots of power, and this is one of the older builds because right now they're using the LT4 motor from the newer generation Corvette, and you can get up to a 10-speed automatic. So Yoel actually also had the idea of building some Broncos, which you see over here, and they decided to put it on hold. Bronco, beautiful Bronco. Bronco is a very iconic American truck, and they actually decided to put it on hold and focus on the Defenders because this market has been booming for them, and it's actually a great build. I've driven the earlier generation Defender projects like this, but I actually want to drive the newer generation project, which is on the rack now. Let's go check it out. Before we go any further, I just want to mention that this car looks so good. It's basically a Fisker Karma electric chassis underneath this old school body, and it looks amazing. I love the HRE wheels on it. So the Fisker Karma wasn't done here in the shop, but basically they bought it because they wanted to restore it and get it running, and I think it's a great addition because it looks amazing. But we're gonna walk over to the lifts now. So right here behind me is the 4-door open bed pickup Defender, and they can basically work with a lot of Defender variants from the 90 to 110 to the 130. Any year, they basically junk everything. Now, believe it or not, the chassis of this Defender has been replaced. They mailed a VIN to Defender and actually ordered a new subframe and chassis because at the end of the day, these cars are also old, and normally they are off-roaded, which means they might have rust in the chassis. Because they are putting a lot of power into the chassis, it makes sense to actually just replace it. Now we're going to talk over the details of the car and what are the upgrades that they do here in Fusion. One of my favorite bits about the Defender is this, the carbon panel. This is a wide body panel, and as you can see, it gets rid of the rivets on the side, and they make this in-house. They also do this, the carbon light housing structure. So this Defender has the lift kit, and I'm actually excited to try something like this because if you've ever ridden in one of these Defenders, they ride so hard. This is a humongous shock with a reservoir with more travel, and hopefully this will improve the ride of the car. They got some solid bushings here, and right now they're wiring the car up. Every time you add more power, you definitely have to upgrade the brakes. They have Fusion labeled brakes there. I think it's Alcon if I'm not mistaken, but the lift kit on this looks amazing. They even changed the shock here to work with the different tire. Obviously, they do computation also on the differential ratio to hook up with the transmission. This one has the 10-speed automatic gearbox, but look how beautiful these brakes are. Believe it or not, this is still the stock steering box. I would have actually thought they would upgrade it, but according to them, this works magically when you upgrade the front shock also. And then they drop the panhard bar as well to center everything with the lift kit. Up in the front, you have the power steering cooler. I think you have the intercooler for the supercharger. You have the condenser for the air conditioning, and then you have the radiator sitting behind. They also do these headlight upgrades. So check this out. This is a front carbon fender, and they bonded it on, but you can see that the seam is over here, and this is actually produced in-house as well. And look how much wider it is from the original panel, which helps house these crazy off-road tires. The engine is a supercharged LT4 motor, and this has a lot of power. Now they have a new system for the brakes as well, and I actually don't know how this works. This is a brake booster system along with the Willwood Master brake reservoir. And then over here you can see the massive radiator which cools the whole system down. The upgrades don't stop on the exterior all the way till the interior. They put some sound deadening all the way in the back over there. Now, as you can see, this car is being wired in at the moment. We have no dashboard, but all the wiring harnesses are changed also. The automatic shift lever is here. I can see that this is the crossover system for the sound system, but basically everything is rebuilt with this car. It's also going to get a Starlight system, which normally you don't get in these older model cars, but with the team here at Fusion, you can request for a Starlight system. Here we are admiring the rear carbon work. Now they do their integrated exhaust flaps where the exhaust goes in the middle. I actually love how that looks. This color also is done in-house. They paint in-house as well. Everything that you need, this is a one-stop shop for restoration for these cars. They do a lot of custom one-off projects also in case you guys have some other ideas in your head. Now, this room is where all the magic R&D happens. This is actually foam blocks. They have a foam cutter over here where they can make the basic structure of any body kit design and basically spray it with a hardener and use it as a plug to make a mold. Over here on the other side right here, we have a CNC machine, and then they have a laser cutter as well. Behind me, which we're going to go feature, is the autoclave. The autoclave is a process where they can take pre-preg carbon or carbon fiber with actual resin built into it, put it into an oven, vacuum bag it to compress any excess resin, pulling it out, and then hardening it with a heat cycle process where you can actually get very light, very sturdy carbon fiber. This is cool. This is like the mad science lab where we can create anything, and it's beyond recognition already from the normal machine shop or hand lathe system where they can use 3D designs. And if I'm not mistaken, Yoel has a ex-NASA designer as his 3D guy. Now, one of the main things that Yoel wants me to highlight in this vlog is that they actually do a lot of contract body kit production. So if you guys want to do any low volume, one-off body kits in carbon fiber, you can hit them up, you can contact them, and they will be happy to take your order. Look at how big this thing is, and it's actually in carbon fiber, and this is a cutter system where they can actually cut foam blocks and then treat them. And this is a whole room in itself. Look how big this machine is. You can actually, instead of using clay and putty and actually just shaving things down, they can actually just cut out a foam block and make a car from scratch. And this is the laser cutter. So basically this can cut any shape that you need from flat sheet metal and make it into any part. So as you can see, they've been working on something here where they have precise cuts and then they can be welded on together. This is one of the rear section for the Eleanor, and this is being prepped so that they can actually mold it already in carbon. Now, if you notice, this is the whole rear section where the tail lights sit, and then this is going to be in full carbon fiber, but that's not all that they're doing. They're doing the actual side quarter panels as well. That's the trunk section over there. So the room over there had some music playing, and I couldn't talk about anything that's happening inside, but basically they were prepping panels already to be vacuum formed. And I have a Mustang here, and this is actually still a steel-bodied Mustang. But what's going to happen eventually to the future builds for the Eleanor is the whole rear section over here is going to become complete carbon fiber. Believe it or not, this section here from the tail light to the trunk system. Now with the Eleanors, this has to be upgraded with a little kick spoiler as well. So now aligning the trunk and the fender panel won't be such a headache because they have the whole section here in carbon fiber, and they're not stopping there. They're actually going to do later on a full carbon door system. They actually have the front system already in carbon. The hood has carbon, the fenders have carbon, and the front fascia has carbon. And everything about this car is going to be carbon. And later on, it's going to be such a lightweight supercar Eleanor classic project that's going to be happening. As Yuel learns how to build these cars, they always go through different upgrades, and they keep changing and improving a lot of the systems that go into the car. Obviously, on the back end, it actually makes it more efficient for them to do it in carbon, because once you get a good mold, the carbon panels are basically clean and aligned already, and that saves a lot of labor time when it comes to aligning the body panels. Okay, over here is the secret sauce. This is the furnace. And as you can see, it's this humongous furnace. Now, they have some panels inside. Let's go in. So this is a vacuum oven. What it does, it basically sucks out the pressure. So you can connect to the vacuum lines here, and the systems will be vacuum bagged. So what the vacuum bag does is it presses out any other resin that is not needed in the composite system, and it removes the resin to make sure that you have the lightest possible part available. Now the oven gets up to a certain temperature so that they can bake the carbon and make sure that the carbon cures properly. So this is the release film, I think, and then we have a grill over here. Now this room is big enough to do body panels, bumpers, and even carbon tubs. Another thing that they have here is actually a square tube bender. Normally people have a round tube bender, but this is a square tube bender. So they can make ladder frame chassis for cars and use them for the older cars that require a ladder frame system. Now here we have the paint booth. Over here we have the paint booth where they do the paint in-house. This is an Alpha bumper that's sitting here, and they obviously don't have any paint happening now. But we're gonna proceed to the next room over there. I wanted to go outside real quick. It's so hot right now, but here are the donor chassis for all their projects. Now, they have some 67 convertibles here that they were planning to restore, but a lot of the 67 fastback, as I was saying. Look at that, they have some Chargers, 67s, and some other muscle cars that I don't know. And I don't know why there are boats here, but that's definitely for restoration also, along with those. And it's just a graveyard of cars that need restoration. So every time they need a car for a client, they have something in stock that you don't have to wait anymore. Here are some other carbon fiber mold panels already. And the only problem that I have always when making composite parts is you're left with so many molds. So you better be sure when you're molding something that it's something you really love, or you're gonna be mass producing it. So they've labeled everything from the Mustang Eleanor, Lamborghini, and Ferrari. A long time ago, they used to do subcon work for Misha Design. Misha was a body kit maker for Ferrari. They had a 458 and a 488 kit, and they would be done in-house here. I'm not sure if they're still doing that, but it just goes to show you that they're so flexible with their designs and they can make so many different things here. So in this area, this is the paint prep area before they send the cars into the oven over there, and anything that needs to be touched up is sent here. Everything again is done in-house, and they have a team doing all the body panels, and then I can see a guy doing the interior work over there. So even down to the interior of the trunk, they actually smoothen everything out so that even if it's covered with carpet and leather, still the attention to detail is here. This was the paint booth on the other side, so they can enter through here, and we're gonna go over to the body working area. So you can see the new trunks are actually in carbon fiber already, and even the rear bumper is carbon fiber. This will eventually be carbon along with this piece, along with the rear fastback section of it. Now they still don't have the roof and the doors, but they have the whole front clip as well. Here is where they do the chassis alignment. You need a jig when you're building unibody cars. A unibody car is basically when the car's frame acts as the chassis as well, where everything is attached to that. So normally when you're doing an Eleanor project, you're doing the side intake along with the intake over here, and then yeah, look at all the beautiful work. Now they increase the transmission tunnel so that they can put in a bigger transmission, but everything is aligned. As you can see, there's a jig here also to make sure that the chassis is square. Some welding going on for the transmission tunnel. So here you can see the hood is already carbon fiber. Again, the fenders will be carbon fiber, and everything later on will be carbon, and that'll be so cool. I definitely want to order a rear section carbon fiber frame from them. I hope you guys enjoyed the short tour here in the Fusion Motor Company factory, where they do all these amazing things to build beautiful cars like this. Now this is obviously the standard color where you can see in the movie Gone in 60 Seconds, the gray with the black stripes, but we went and did a custom job and did the satin black paint, and that was one of the hardest paints for them to pull off. But basically you have some leeway with engine modifications. Do you want an automatic or manual transmission? And then basically also a little touches of the interior, but not much modifications on how the overall car looks, because it is a licensed movie car, and if I'm not mistaken, they're planning to cap everything at the 60 mark. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but as of the moment, you have to wait a whole 2 years to get one of these babies, if you're lucky to have the money to be able to afford one, because the price has gone up over the years. Now, if you're still in the market for a custom SUV, definitely the Defender is something else you want, but this will forever be a future classic. The car looks so good, and I love driving Joey's car, and definitely I think it's such an icon, especially here in the United States, where this is used in so many movies, and the most famous one was Gone in 60 Seconds. This is the build book for the Eleanors, and they end up printing it, so I'm going to blur the name so you guys don't know who owns the Eleanor, but they show you the start of the chassis and how much transformation it goes through, along with the metal work. And it's a beautiful coffee table book just to know what your car goes through, and actually have to remind you well because we still don't have our book. Wonderful. Okay guys, if you guys are still online, please go to Fusion Motor Company, follow them on Instagram, follow them on YouTube. They are going to start producing content so that they can showcase all their skills, and definitely give them a follow if you guys love cars. If you guys love technical stuff and you love unique classic cars, they should definitely deserve your follow. And on that note, I'm gonna go grab my lunch. I hope you guys enjoyed this content, and if you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.